Hey everybody, it's me Stacey here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, and it's time for Saturday with Stacey YouTube number 218. I have got some new product to me that I was not used to seeing or hadn't seen before, so it may be new product to you. I've got fun things to show you. We've got Stampendous and Gelatos, and like I said, this new product that I hadn't ever played with before, but now that I've played with it, oh, I'm in love. And it's affordable, which even makes it better. I have Winter Chicken Dinner to talk about, but first, I would like to talk about last week's YouTube. Actually, I have two things I want to talk about, so if you don't want to hear me yak, that's okay. Fast forward, but this may have something to do with you, and it does have to do with last week's YouTube. Last week's YouTube, I showed the alcohol inks that we had at a super special buy, and I did embossing on vellum, and then I painted with the alcohol inks, and I priced those alcohol inks really inexpensive. I got a phenomenal buy, but we all have to be honest. When you're selling something for $1.49, there's not a lot of profit in $1.49. So I wanted to explain why we sold them for that price, because we received some emails and some phone calls from some very disappointed people when the product sold out very quickly. Now I bought all I could. So some bottles I had more of, and other colors I had less of, but I thought I had enough to get us through quite some time. They were gone in like 5 hours. So like I said, we had some phone calls and some emails from people. Some were very understanding, and I appreciate that, and some were not so understanding. And that's who I'm trying to talk to right now. Hi. So the question was, well, why did you sell them so cheap? If you hadn't sold them so cheap, they would still be available. You're right, they would still be available, or they might be sold out now. But I want to explain to you my reasoning behind the price I put them out at, in hopes that you have a better understanding of me, because it's going to happen again. I'm going to get a phenomenal price on some product, and I'm going to want to share it with you, and it's going to sell out very fast. So why do I do what I do? These YouTubes are an actual class. They are a class. They're meant to be a class. Yes, I have a retail store. Yes, we have an online business. Yes, I have employees that have to be paid. And yes, I have to put food on my table. Yes. But I also have to have a responsibility to try and keep our crafting industry going. And that's where these classes came from. It wasn't meant to be necessarily a selling tool, but a creative tool. Because you know me. If you have a local independent scrapbook store that sells the same product that you see here, I encourage you to buy it from them. If you don't have a local scrapbook store and you have to shop online, as many of you do, we understand that. And even if you don't buy them from us because we're not the store for you, you like to watch my YouTubes, but you don't want to shop with us because you can get it from Amazon in 2 days. I get that too. The point is to keep the industry going, and the only way to do that is to teach and to show and to share, and you're not alone out there. Some of you craft all by yourself, and you don't have that feedback coming at you of, oh, what if you tried this, or what if you did that, because you're in your craft room doing your own thing. And that's where I come in. So I put those alcohol inks at $1.49 because, first off, alcohol inks are a little outside the box for most people. It's a little different for them. They don't quite know how to use them. They don't know what they were for, and they can be scary. You want to be conservative. You only have so much money to spend, and do you really want to spend it on something you're not 100% certain about? So I put those alcohol inks out there at that price to encourage people who wouldn't normally try them to try them, and to see how wonderful they can be, and to see how much fun they are, and it doesn't just have to be for backgrounds, and it doesn't have to be, you can do more with it, because there are other places to buy alcohol inks. Tim Holtz sells alcohol inks, and Artsy sells alcohol inks. So if you bought a few for $1.49 and you tried it and you loved it and you said, oh, this is so me, you could go and spend a little more money and buy the ones that are available all the time. But if you bought a few and you said, nope, looked great in the YouTube, but not for me. You didn't spend a fortune to try and to play. And then I don't feel badly that you spent $20 on alcohol inks that you may never use again. Maybe you bought 5 of them. So what is that? That's $7.50 or something like that. I don't feel badly that you bought 5 colors and then got it home and said, oh yeah, no, this is not up my alley at all. Because then it was $7.50 and not $20. So that's the reasoning behind some of the things I do. Yes, they sold out fast, and yes, I feel badly about that, and yes, I'm very sorry. Will it be the last time that happens? No, it won't. It will happen again because I will get another great deal on some other product, and I will want you to be able to afford to try it. It may be outside your comfort zone, but for $7.50, maybe you're willing to go a little outside your comfort zone. And then, like I said, if it's something you love, 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 there's other product that will work with what you already have, and you can add to your collection at a higher price, a full price. And maybe then you're willing to spend that because you love it so much. So I know that we disappointed several of you, and I'm really very, very sorry. I truly am. But I have to be honest, it will happen again. It will. This isn't just about selling to you and having you shop with us. This is about teaching you and opening you up to new experiences and new creative journeys that you didn't even know you wanted to travel down. And like I said, if you shop with us, I can't thank you enough. Truly, I can't. We are an independent retailer. We are. And if you just watch my YouTubes and shop someplace else, I'm okay with that too, because you're still crafting. And as long as you're crafting, this industry will stay in business. And that's my goal. So for those of you, again, I'm very, very sorry. I do apologize. I am going to try and make that up to you today. I'm going to show you something very similar to what I did last week. And then I'm going to carry it through into the new product I have to show you today, because it all works together. So I hadn't planned on doing this, but I wanted to give you options. And what I'm going to be showing you today is plentiful. It is so available. There's no chance we're going to sell out. There's no chance that anybody's going to sell out of it. And you might even find it at your local independent store. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Please accept our apologies that it went so very fast. That wasn't what we had intended, but let us try and make it up to you today. And the second thing is, for those of you who are in Florida and the surrounding states, or in Texas, or in Puerto Rico, I learned something today that was very important. Because of my home burning, and we lost our home, I did not know. And I would not know. Somebody else told me. It was not something that was readily available. I did not know that when the insurance company sends you your check for whatever it is, whatever claim you have and whatever they have to pay to fix your home back to what it was, they don't just issue that check in your name. It's not that they send you the money. They typically send it to you and your mortgage company. And you have to work with your mortgage company to get funds released for the rebuild, or the whatever needs to be done from all the damage that was done during those horrible, horrible storms. So I talked to my mortgage company today, and they said, oh, most people don't call us till they've already received the check and they see that their name isn't the only one on the check, and they have to call us. And there's a mound of paperwork that has to be filled out. And they hold those funds until that paperwork is filled out, and they disperse those funds on a schedule. So she said, you're early. That's wonderful. Let us get you set up and let us get you started in the process. That way, when you do get your check and you have to send it to us to be endorsed, then we can start sending you your funds sooner. So for those of you who have had home damage or any kind of damage, call your mortgage company. Call them and ask them if your damage is over $10,000 or over $20,000 or over $40,000. is the check from the insurance company also going to be made out to them, the mortgage company as well? And if so, how do you get that money to do what you need to do? It's not just about your insurance company. It's about your mortgage company too, if you have a loan against your house. And I do. I can't pay my house off. We have to rebuild. I have no choice. I will have no place to live. And I think that there are lots of you who may be in the exact same predicament. And I wanted to pass on what I learned from somebody who was very knowledgeable, and I didn't know, and it wasn't forthcoming from anybody. So I called my mortgage company, and they were very, very helpful. So include them in the process, because chances are, at least in the state of California, it's law that check also include the mortgage company's name if you have a mortgage against your house, if you have a loan against your house. And then you have to work with your mortgage company, and there is a mound of paper that I have to fill out, and I'm happy to do it because I'm getting it done even before we even get a check. So there's my 2 cents for the day. Hopefully everybody, especially, now Costa Rica, it's just crazy, these storms that are going through, and Mexico City, and so I'm hoping that everything calms down a little bit and we can get back to not hearing about terrible disasters. And those of you who were affected, I hope that what I had to say is just a little tidbit of advice that you might not have known and will help you in your process. It is a process. All right, winner chicken dinner. Let's do some wahoos. Because I feel that was like, ooh. So let's get up. We have winner chicken dinner from last week. I'm going to tell you right now, the Facebook winners that we had who won the alcohol links, yours are already pulled, not a problem. The winner chicken dinners from the YouTube, not so much. So what are you going to win? Well, by George, you're going to win this awesome $27 embossing powder kit from Stampendous that we're going to be showing today. We showed it last week too. You're going to win some fabulous vellum, and you're going to win a Prima stamp. Value is like $50, I think. Will you be seeing any alcohol links in that package? Probably not, unless somebody doesn't pay for their order, and then we'll throw them in. We're not even going to put them back online. We'll throw them in. If somebody doesn't pay for their order, you got them. Okay, so let's see if you are our winner chicken dinner for this week. And this is from people who commented on YouTube number 217. If you are Lori Handel, come on down. You're the next winner at Scrapbooking Made Simple. I almost said the price is right. And you have a friend, because you're not alone. Andrea Manda. Congratulations, Andrea Manda. You too. We don't have one showcase winner. We have 2 showcase winners. I loved the Price is Right when I was growing up. Andrea Manda and Lori Handel, how are you going to claim your prizes, girls? You're going to go to scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Go to scrapbookingmadesimple.com. You'll see a link that says winner chicken dinner. You're going to click that. You're going to follow the instructions. We will confirm that that is you and you are indeed the winner chicken dinner. And then we will send out your prizes to you. Congratulations. All right, I'm going to get started for today. I'm going to tilt down. I think I'm finding my groove. I've got my Gidget bangs going on. That's what I call them, my Gidget bangs. And if you don't know who Gidget and Moondoggie are, Google them. I just dated myself, but that's okay because I loved Gidget and Moondoggie. So we're going to tilt down. We're going to get started for today. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain sometimes why we do what we do. It's all because we want to keep our industry going, and we want to keep you crafting, and we want to expand your horizons. All right, down we go. Bye. All right, so down, and then I'm going to tilt in. Look at how good I did. I didn't even mess up once. Oh, haha, rock star. All right, this is the make and take that's going on downstairs. Now, we had 2 lovely ladies in today from Fresno, and they're coming back tomorrow to do the make and take. They drove in from Fresno, which I guess maybe is 5 hours away. And when they got here, they said, "We're so glad there's no downstairs." And I'm like, huh? She says, when you're on the YouTube, you always say downstairs, because this is the make and take that's going on right now. If you're watching this on Saturday, this is what they're doing downstairs. Well, I'm upstairs in the stock room with Mr. SMS's office, but the ladies thought that perhaps they would have to go downstairs to our retail store to shop. Nope. Easy peasy. So this is what we've going on for our free make and take. If you are anywhere in Southern California, come see us. From 9 to about 2 every Saturday, I'm out there doing a free make and take with all of you. But that's not where we're going to start. Where we're going to start is where I can show you a similar technique based off of last week with things you may already have, and if you don't have them, they're readily available. And then we're going to move and continue on into the new product that I have to show you, because it's all going to be, it all works together. So it actually worked out very lovely. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm doing it now. So this is the vellum I used last week. Basic vellum. Most of you might have had it from 95 when you started crafting, and it was one of the first things you bought was vellum because that's what was available in 1995. Then I'm going to bring over a stamp. Now this is the new stamps from Stampendous. It's a whopper. It's like 8 by 8. In fact, do I have a ruler? Oh, by George, I do. Look at that. Well, oh, I'm so good. It is. It's 8 by 8. I looked at the packaging and it wasn't anywhere on the packaging that I could see. So this is an 8 by 8 cling stamp, which means it clings. This is a cling on the top. It's not sticky. And on the back is your rubber stamp that we all know and love. Now, Stampendous has 5 of these new stamps. They're big background stamps, and they sell a block for it. And for those of you who have never seen a stamp cling to a block, there you go. The stamp has clinged to the block, and you use the block then to push the stamp down onto paper. So normally what they would like you to do is take a Gush Pad, a piece of paper, you would ink up your stamp, and then you would turn it over and you would push it down into that paper and it would leave the image. We're going to use this just a wee bit differently than what they had intended. I'm still going to use the stamp, and I'm still going to use the Gush Pad. And a Gush Pad is, this is a foam pad. This is a simply refined Gush Pad, which means that I manufacture it. It is an 8.5 by 11. It makes your stamping much easier. If you have a Doris Gush Pad, the Doris pad is bigger. It's like $4.99, $3.99. They're very inexpensive. But what it allows you to do is it gives that stamp and that paper some place to sink into so that it makes a better contact. If you're stamping on a hard surface, that paper's got nothing to sink into, so you don't get a really good contact sometimes, and you end up missing spaces and holes. A Gush Pad will help you, and for the price, it's worth the money. It truly it is. People who said they have always been horrible stampers, then put it on a Gush Pad, and all of a sudden their stamping is so much better. I'm going to do this a little differently than what they had anticipated. I'm not going to use the block the way it's intended, which is as a vehicle to be able to press it down onto paper. I am going to go ahead and take my stamp and put it right onto my Gush Pad. And again, my Gush Pad is cut down. It's much bigger than this. It's 8.5 by 11. And then I'm going to take Versamark. Versamark is a medium that you use when you're going to do a heat embossing. If you've never seen heat embossing, it's magical. It truly is. But you need a Versamark. My Versamark is same as last week, just as ugly as it was then, but it works just fine. So I'm not going to replace it. There's no reason to. Got a little bit of glitter though. I think that was from Yvette. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. A Versamark is a way to get your paper wet enough with the proper medium that you can put an embossing powder on it and it will stick to it. All right. Then I'm going to take my vellum and I'm going to lay my vellum right over the top of my stamp. Now most of you would think that I would start moving my fingers across, and you can. You just have to be oh so gentle so that your finger doesn't accidentally press down in a place and leave a fingerprint with Versamark on the other side. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the block that Stampendous sells. It's very inexpensive. It's $10.99 and it'll be on a YouTube Yummy. I'm going to put that over the top, and I'm going to use that to give my pressure. And because I'm on a Gush Pad, everything is sinking down just a little bit, so I have really good contact. Now, do you have to have this block? No. Could you use a do not cut pad from your Sizzix machine? Absolutely could. Do you have a do not cut pad for your cuddle bug? Sure, you can use that. You just need a piece of flat, thin acrylic. Absolutely. Do you have a Tim Holtz grid block? Because his are really thin. You can use that. It's nice to have the block that they sell because it fits the stamps, but it's not necessary. I would rather have another stamp than get the block. That's my opinion. Love you, Stampendous. Okay, so again, I know some of you are going to want to do this, and you can. Just be extra careful when you do so that you don't accidentally dip your finger in there and you leave a little fingerprint on the other side. Now I'm going to pull it up, and what's going to be there is a watermark. See that watermark? That's the Versamark. Now if I let this dry, let's say I didn't do anything with it and I just let it dry, it would leave that watermark on the vellum. You could take your heat tool and just heat it and dry it up, which means if you have vellum at home and pretty stamps and you want to do a lovely background, a watermark background, you want to add just a little something to your vellum, just Versamark it and stamp it and then let it dry, and you've taken a plain boring vellum and made it new again. Very, very easy, very, very nice. Now I am going to take my embossing powder, and I've got the Stampendous embossing powder kit. It's the basics. It gives you everything that you need for embossing. It really is the basics. It gives you white and black and clear and gold and silver, and it gives you some iridescence. So it allows you to start embossing without investing for full size embossing powders. Like this in a full size, this is detail gold. This in a full size, I want to say is $4.99 maybe. And so if you had all of these in the full size, that's kind of a pretty penny. But if you buy the kit and then it turns out that you're using this one a lot, you're going through this much faster than the others, well then you can buy the full size of just this one and keep the others for when you want a silver tinsel embossing or a gold tinsel embossing. It's a way to have a beautiful selection of embossing powders without breaking the bank. All right, let me tip. I am going to put my embossing powder right across the top, and I tend to dump, and then I'm just going to let it walk on down. And where the Versamark stamped my image is where that embossing powder is going to stay. Give it a nice tap, tap, tap. I think we're pretty good. Now what's on there is powder. So we have to do something to it to change it to a solid. I'm going to put back all of this. This is all going to go right back into that jar. And you can see that you use almost nothing. I still have a full jar of embossing powder. It really, you use almost nothing. Then I think I'm going to bring over a piece of white paper. I'm going to slide it underneath just so you can see. And I'm going to heat emboss this. I am using a heated tool from Ranger. This is not a hair dryer. It's also not a cylinder type embossing tool. This is going to take longer to heat, but it's not going to burn. If you're very comfortable with the cylinder type, it will heat this and melt this much, much faster. But you also have a higher chance of burning your paper, your vellum, your embossing powder. I would rather take a little bit longer to heat this than to burn it and have to re-stamp and re-emboss and start all over again and use a whole new piece of vellum. So I'm going to turn this on. It's pretty quiet. I'm going to hold it in one place and I'm going to let it start heating. And the beautiful thing about embossing powder is when it turns from a powder into a solid, it's pretty magical. You actually can see it change colors. It's pretty wonderful. And I'm just going to hold it in place until I start to see it turn. And then as it turns, I'm going to move. As it changes, I'm going to move. So I'm just walking my heat tool right down my stamped image, and if I didn't get someplace, if it didn't change, I can come back to it. Get that heat right on it, and it melts. It's just a little bit of magic. The first time somebody sees this, they just, oh, it's the best moment ever, because it's taking something unexpected and making it fabulous. So I'm not going to heat this whole thing, because now that it's hot, it's really heating fast. I want to come back up here. I saw a little space that I missed. Oh, now I didn't miss it. Let's do a little bit of this one. So now that it's hot, it's really moving fast. Okay. So this is where I am. Can you see? Can you see how this is kind of dull over here? See how this is dull right there, but the rest of it's shiny? And as soon as it cools off, it's dry, it's ready to go. But you can see where the powder is still just that. It's still powder, and I can wipe it off. It hadn't yet turned to a solid, and I can wipe it off. So that's what happens with embossing powder when you heat it. It turns to this beautiful, rich, the colors are magnificent. It's just a little bit of yummy. I wonder if I can heat that really fast, just because I want to keep that one in the, I don't want to cut it out. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to heat where I missed on those two, because I want to keep those two with what I'm working on. There we go. All right. So I showed you, if you don't heat your embossing powder, it's going to come right off, because it is just that. It's a powder. But when it is heat, you've heated it up. It looks beautiful. So let me cut this off. And now I'm going to take you back to last week, where I then turned this over, because I'm on vellum and I want to color it. I turned this over and I took my alcohol inks and I moved alcohol inks all the way around. And it was beautiful. I'm going to show you another way to do something very, very, very similar. Do you have gelatos? Do you know what a gelato is? It's a pigment-based crayon by Faber-Castell. They're easy to use. They're meant to be blended. You can use them with water. I'm going to be using them with baby wipes in just a little bit. This is one of the easiest ways to color, and they are very inexpensive. I want to say $2.70 a crayon, and they will last you a very long time. You can put them on a surface, a non-porous surface, and add water and paint with them. You can, it's one of the quickest, easiest ways to color something is with a gelato, and there's about 60 colors. I'm going to be doing it on the back of vellum. So I'm going to take my gelato, and I'm just going to randomly put some down. Just going to randomly swirl some different gelatos on here. Let's throw some green in there. So right now, kind of looks like something my kids did in kindergarten. And I loved every single picture they brought home. Honest. So it looks like kind of a hot mess. And many of you would now be saying, oh, she's going to take a baby wipe and she's going to blend it. No, I'm not going to take a baby wipe and blend it. Vellum is very susceptible to water or to liquid, and that's why the alcohol inks work so beautifully on the back of it. Because when the alcohol inks go down, they evaporate very quickly. And so it doesn't have time for anything to absorb into the vellum. If you start adding water to vellum, it's going to get crinkly. It's going to Let's see if I've got, it's going to get crinkly. So let's just add some water to my vellum or some baby wipe, and it will eventually start to become very, very crinkly. It will bubble in the center, and it never goes, too much water is too much water. If you try to paint on it with regular water, now it's really starting to go. So you can see that it actually changes the texture. It's getting little dimples in there, and that's not what you want. So you're not going to add any water to this at all. You're going to use the most convenient tool you have in your stash. You're going to use your finger. And you're going to take your finger and you're literally just going to rub. And you're going to blend those gelatos into each other. You don't have to rub too hard. And the more you rub and blend, well, that's what's going to happen. The more blending that you're going to do. The lighter you color onto the back of your vellum, the lighter your colors will be. The darker you use the gelatos on the back of your vellum, the darker your colors are going to be. And I'm just taking my finger and I'm just giving a rub. Let's add a little more yellow here. You can go back just like I did and add a little more yellow there. And gelatos are meant to blend. So my yellow and my red just made a beautiful orange. Let's see, let's add a little more orange here, more orange there. And you don't have to rub too hard. The lighter you rub, the more intense your color will be. If you really start to rub that color out, you will soften the color, and maybe that's what you want. It's up to you. You have options. It's very difficult to make mud doing this. Truly it is. It's very difficult to make mud. And you're just coloring on the back and taking and moving it around. Have no idea what this is going to look like. We're going to find out together. It's always a surprise. Every one of them is different. And everybody can do this. All right, let's grab another piece of paper. And this is what I've got. This is the back side of vellum. Not so nice, but then I turn it around and this is what I've got, which is beautiful. And it's on vellum and it's embossed and it's colored, and the gelatos, they dry on the vellum. They do, they dry on the vellum. So if I wanted to blend some of that red and make it a little lighter, I could blend it out. I could add some yellow to it and blend on top so that that red kind of blends out into an orangey color. You can go back and play until you get it what you want it to be. You have options, and it's on the vellum that you already own, and you probably already have stamps, and the gelatos are so inexpensive. So while I didn't do it with alcohol inks like I did it last week, I did it with gelatos, and gelatos are plentiful. Faber-Castell makes about 60 colors. They're not going anywhere. I don't have to worry that we're going to disappoint anybody. And we gave you a very comparable look. Really pretty. I did this one earlier. It's got a little bit more intense coloring to it because I put more gelato down and I blended lighter. This one's a little softer. Now, could you take your vellum? Well, this is my wet vellum. Now you can really see what happens to it. You see how bad that is now that it's gotten wet? Too much water. Could I take my vellum and take Stays On ink and stamp on top of my vellum with my stamp and then color the background as well? Sure, I could. Absolutely. Stays On ink is what you're going to want to use to stamp on top of vellum. Then you're going to let it dry. It's an alcohol-based product, so it's going to dry onto a non-porous material. That's what this is for. So if I didn't want to invest in embossing powders and heat tools, but I wanted to use up some of the vellum that I've been storing for 15 years, and I have stamps, well, then all you need is a StazOn ink pad. You can stamp on top of it, turn it over, and then if you have gelatos, color it, and you'd get a beautiful effect. Absolutely. So, here we go. Same type of result as last week, just done a little bit differently. With my most humble apologies. I didn't mean to upset anybody. All right, now we're gonna move on because I want to show you the new product that I have that isn't new at all, but it's new to me, which I was just like, ah, it made my heart so happy. All right, what do we have for you? I have, oh, this one got dirty. I have acetate for you. See how clear that is? That is how this card was made, on acetate. But acetate has, it's plastic. So when you add heat to it, normally acetate will go zoop and it'll, yes, it makes that exact noise. And it will curl and it will buckle and it will bend. Okay, this is heat resistant acetate and I had never played with it before, but it's pretty rock star. And with the background stamps that we have from Stampendous, it's wonderful. I've got embossing powder over all of it. So I think I'm going to take and change. I'm going to take and change the stamp I use. I'm going to use the snowflake stamp. So here's one of the other stamps. They have 5 of them. And I'm going to put that down. Now what I like about a stamp this big, let me tell you. Let's say you are, this is big. Maybe I have another piece. Oh, I have another piece. Let's say, let's cut it in half because this is 8.5 by 11, so I could cut it in half, and then I could cut that in half and have a perfect A2 size card. Perfect for an A2 size card, which is your most common card in the United States. I have a stamp this big, but I want to make the same card again and again and again for Christmas or for Easter or for weddings, whatever you're doing. But because you have a stamp this big, you can keep the base of the card the same. You can keep the ribbon the same, the colors the same, but you can move your paper or your acetate so that every time you stamp, even though you're doing the same card again and again, each card is a little different because you get a little different area of the stamp. They all match because it's all the same inks and the same papers and the same format of the card, but you can change a little bit of it so that each one of them looks a little different, a little personalized. And that's what I like about a background stamp this big. Now I'm going to take my Versamark again and I'm going to Versamark this up. And I'm just going to ink, 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 ink. And it's kind of hard to tell if you've got Versamark on there because there's no color to it. So you can just kind of move your stamp around and you will see if it looks wet or not. You can see it looks wet. And then I'm going to take my acetate and I'm going to lay it right on top. And again, you can, juicy, I smudged it. So by taking that and gently rubbing it, I smudged it. So I bet if I peel that off, it's smudged. Yep, it's smudged. So we're going to take the back side and do the back side. If you're using Versamark and you're going to try and use your hands to do it, you've got to make sure that it doesn't move. And this is where having some sort of a block is helpful so that you can give a good press down. Make sure you've got good contact. You don't have to worry about it moving because that block is on top to keep it in place. And then you can peel up 1, 2, 3, ABC, and let's see what we've got. Well, I can't tell what's the front and what's the back, but it's there. Some of the stamped images on the back side, but it's there. Now I'm going to take this out of my way. I'm going to bring over my little card base, and I think I will take detailed silver this time. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep my fingers off of it, and I'm going to dump, dump, dump across the top. And then I'm going to let it walk on down. And where I was able to stamp my image is where that embossing powder is going to hold. Can you see that I've got those snowflakes on there in silver? Okay, let's do some heat embossing. I'm going to put this right back in so I don't waste any. Put my lid on and then bring this over to heat emboss. And the same thing, you know what, I'm going to put a white piece of paper underneath it so hopefully you can see it better. And as the silver changes from a powder into a solid, it will brighten just like that gold did. It will brighten just like that gold. Well, I got a few fingerprints on it, but that's okay, because I touched the back side with my hands because I didn't know the back side was going to be the front side. And what you're noticing is that the acetate isn't buckling, it isn't bubbling, it isn't curling, it's staying completely flat. And that's what you want acetate to do, but most acetates would not do this. Most acetates would buckle and curl and bend. And you need it to stay completely flat. I'm just going to roll that right over and move along. And again, if you're skilled with a cylinder embossing tool, yay. I am not. I tend to burn. So I like the one by Ranger, the Heat It tool. Does it take a little bit longer? Yes, but am I pretty much guaranteed I'm not going to burn anything? Yes. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I've got my snowflake on my acetate. My acetate is still malleable, it still moves, it's still completely and perfectly flat, and that is different for acetate. That's pretty rock star, because then I could take it and put it right onto a black background, and oh my, is it gorgeous. Look at how fabulous it looks on the acetate with a black background and that silver embossing powder. But what if you want to color? Okay, so let's color. Do I have another piece of white somewhere? Yes. Let's color. Cut me off a piece of my white paper. This is just simply defined 100-pound white paper. You can use any white cardstock you have. It will all work the same. I don't know. To me, it's not the same effect on the white versus the black. I think the black is far more dramatic than the white. But let's make the white a little special. We're going to pull out our gelatos again. And this time we are going to use a baby wipe. Just an inexpensive baby wipe. Sam's Club, Walmart, the Dollar, I don't know, do you have the Dollar Tree, the Dollar Store, Big Lots, whatever. Basic baby wipe. Now I'm not going to put the gelato straight to my paper. I'm going to put the gelato onto my baby wipe. And I'm going to start with my lightest color first. And then I'm just going to add it. Put some over here, and maybe some over here, and maybe some over there. What tends to happen if you put your gelato straight onto your paper is that it will leave a line that you're unable to blend away. So I'm just going to get some color down here, and then I'm going to go to my next color. And let's use the purple and see what the purple looks like. Now, I'm not going to change my baby wipe. I'm just going to go right over the top. And then I'm going to add some purple. And that purple is going to blend right in to that lighter blue. And it's going to create a third color. It's as easy as using a baby wipe. I said gelatos were simple. I meant it. Okay, now let's use let's use a third color to make a fourth color. A little darker blue. I don't know how dark blue this is going to be. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh. Okay, I like. And I have made a beautiful background. Now I can go back and I can make it as dark as I want. If I want more of the lighter blue, I can add more of the lighter blue. Just get your baby wipe wet again, get in there and add some more color. The idea of starting with your lightest color first is because when you put the darker color over the top, that light color gets absorbed. So if you start with dark color everywhere first, it's impossible for a light color then to be on top of it because it's going to get absorbed in. You always want to start with your lightest color first. And it's amazing how gelatos just move and blend to make multiple colors. And you can play until your heart's content almost. You're just using a baby wipe and paper. So if you make mud and you don't like it, it was a baby wipe and paper. That's all we've done is a baby wipe and paper. But when you put your background to it, oh, my cutting is so off today. Ooh, wee doggies. I think I was leaning, well, I'm trying to cut through two pieces at once. I think I was leaning, I was leaning one way or the other. Now look at it. How yummy is that? Just gorgeous. Is it not dark enough for you? Go ahead, darken it up. Use your baby wipe. Get into those gelatos. Add more color. Blend that color in. You can. It's only paper. If you don't like it, it's save this background for something else. It's only paper. You can absolutely get these colors darker if you want. Gelatos will layer and layer and layer and layer and layer. And layer and layer. Sometimes you have to know when to take a step back and say, oh, it's pretty, stop. Isn't that gorgeous? And then with Stacey tape, so this is my adhesive. This is my double-sided adhesive. Stacey tape will very often barely even show. Because you're saying, okay, but now how do I tape it down? Well, Stacey tape will barely even show. You really kind of have to be looking for the adhesive. So my tape is clear. It doesn't have a yellow base to it. That was really important to me, that it not have a yellow base. Quite a few other tapes that are out there on the market have a yellow base to them. So when you put them down, they seem, you can see the yellow through it. Oh, Stacey. Maybe I should start here. Or is it this way? Whoa, maybe I should have it right side. There we go. Okay. Oh, there they are. You can, I mean, you have to look for that adhesive. It's here and it's here. Not here, but here and there. And it's the same on the vellum. You really have to look for it to see it. Otherwise, it goes on that acetate beautifully. And the acetate didn't bubble, it didn't curl, it didn't smell, it didn't burn, it didn't fry, it didn't warp. It stayed exactly where it was supposed to be. It let me lay it down perfectly, minus the cutting. And then I know, I freehand. There's just no room on my little table for a trimmer. Then you can mat it. Okay, so I'm just going to mat this really quick on black paper because I want to show you one more thing. This is not how I would typically mat a piece of a card, but that's okay. It's just to get it down. Okay. So, all right. So I've got it matte onto black paper. I'm gonna go over one more time what I just did, and then I'm gonna finish that card off for you. So we took heat-resistant acetate. Heat-resistant acetate. I took a beautiful background stamp from Stampendous. Beautiful background stamp from Stampendous. Put my stamp face up. I put my Versamark. Inked it up. Put my vellum down. Grabbed a clear block that's larger than the piece that I'm doing, larger than the paper or the acetate or the vellum I'm doing. Put that down, gave a really good press, kind of let it sink in and do its thing. I'm going to try not to, remember, if you do this, be sure, and you can, if you're, be sure not to let your acetate or your vellum or your paper slip, because then you're going to have to redo it, which is the point of using a block over the top. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to show you that it's got a beautiful watermarked image on it. I'm going to put these aside, bring over my little card base that I use as my funnel. I'm going to use some detailed gold embossing powder across the top. And then I'm going to let it walk on down. And where I stamped with the Versamark, that embossing powder is going to cling to the image. I'm going to give a good little tap off. If I see any spaces that I missed, I can go back in and add a little bit if I need to. I'm going to put all the rest of my embossing powder back where it came from because it's reusable. Put my cap on because I'm notorious for not doing that. Bring over a white piece of paper so you can see. Start to heat. And the acetate doesn't move, doesn't warp, doesn't bend. Takes a little bit longer with a heated tool to heat everything up, But you may find that you're better doing that because with a cylinder tool, it's burning too fast. It's moving too fast for you and it's burning. And the nice thing is you can also pick this up. With the cylinder tool, there's no way you would be able to pick this up to see what you need to do. It would just be too hot. So pretty. See, I can see a space right in there. I'm just going to come back over and heat that up and melt it. So pretty. And you can see I'm rotating it every now and then so that it hits the place I need to hit. And I'm just following it. As I see it melt, I'm just following it. All right, I think it's not done, but it's pretty good. Whoop. I say that every time and I still finish, don't I? I suppose that's a little annoying, but that's my personality. I feel bad if I don't finish it. All right, good enough. If it's not done, it's not done. But your acetate is still perfect. Oh, look at how lovely that is. Your acetate is still pliable, moves, it's not warped, it's not crackled, it's not smelly, it's just perfect. And see, I didn't finish over there, that's gonna annoy me. And it's just perfect. And then you do the same thing. Take your baby wipe, grab your colors, and just start to make, oh, I should have started with my yellow because that's my lightest color. Let's go back and grab my yellow. And maybe I'll use a soft butter yellow this time. Go back in and just make your colors. Blend away. Maybe a little bit of orange. Oh, very bright orange. Very, very, very bright orange. And maybe a little green somewhere. And I'm just using the same baby wipe. My sleeve keeps falling. And then by the time you're all said and done, you can mount it on the back and you've got a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful background for your acetate and heat embossed. Can you use StazOn and just stamp on the acetate? Sure, absolutely. You can do that with any acetate. If you're not going to apply heat to it, you can use any acetate that you want. Not a problem. But if you're going to apply heat to it, see, that can wipe off. That's going to drive me crazy. If you're going to apply heat to it, you want to use heat-resistant acetate. That's what it is made for. And you can just make the most beautiful backgrounds, and it gives such a polished, finished look. That's how this card was made. See how deep and rich those colors are? Because it's on white paper. The acetate is laid on top of white paper, just like I was doing here. And that was the end result. Okay, so for the very, 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 very last thing, oh, it didn't stick down very well because I didn't do a very good job on that. So I've got my gelato background on top of my heat embossed snowflakes with a background of black. I am going to take my Stacey tape and I'm going to run a border around the entire outside edge of my embossed piece. So I'm gonna go here to here. Oh, maybe I'll go from top to, oh, maybe I'll just, I don't know. Decisions. I have too many options. Okay, let's just do 2. So top to bottom. Top to bottom. You can see that you can rip the tape, so you don't have to have scissors. But when you're doing the finish work, that's when you want to bring your scissors in. So you really don't want to try and rip this to get a nice clean edge. Just use your scissors to do that. Okay, I may end up going back and putting the tape there anyway, because it may not be what I want it to look like. So then I'm going to take my tape off. I'm going to expose the sticky. So I'm going to peel that liner up, and I'm going to peel that liner up, and you can see that the tape is sticky. You can see there's sticky right there. So I have to do something with it. I have to put something else on top of it. All right, the last thing that Stampendous has that's new, for me at least, is Twinkle Glitter. No heat necessary. Bring over my little, it's chunky. It's not fine. So it doesn't make a mess and it doesn't stick to you because it's chunky. I'm putting it right on top of my Stacey tape. And then I'm going to rub it right on into that tape. And what it's going to do is make a perfect border. See, I told you I wasn't sure if I wanted to do all the way around because it's so pretty all the way around. And then give a good tap off. And because it's stuck to the Stacey tape, once you tap it off, it's not going to go everywhere. Look at how cute is that? I love this stuff. I love how chunky it is. And all the iridescent colors in it. And it just reminds me of tinsel, which reminds me of my mom. And so my mom putting every layer, every strand of tinsel individually on the Christmas tree. I mean, when I saw this, that's just what it reminded me of. And it's easy to use. And when you're using Stacey tape with it, it's strong enough to hold it in place, kind of burnish it down so you get off all the extra pieces. And then it's so cute. See, it would have been darling if I had gone all the way around, wouldn't it? See, if you were sitting here in front of me, you would have said, just do it. And I would have listened. I should have put the piece there and the piece there and had it go all the way around, but that's okay. We have samples. But I love it. Isn't that so cute? Doesn't that remind you of the tinsel? Makes my heart happy. So makes my heart happy. And it's from Stampendous. And then you just tap it back in. Didn't mean to throw that away, but tap it back in, and holy smokes, artichokes, I have to be really honest with you. This is a very big jar. You could probably split this between 2 of you and still have ample. So if 2 of you are going in together, split this. Just go get an inexpensive Tupperware from the dollar store, and you'll have plenty. So, all right, so what did we do today? Well, we showed how to take the vellum and color it with our gelatos, so that you get a very similar look to what you could do with your alcohol inks that unfortunately sold out. We also took our Stampendous stamps and we used it on the beautiful heat-resistant acetate and those beautiful background stamps that really do give you an opportunity. You may want to do this card again and again and again, but imagine you could take this here, you could do this piece here, you could do that piece there, you could go straight in the middle. You could move your piece of acetate or paper or vellum around. So even though the format is exactly the same, every card's a little bit different. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice because you've got the area to work with. I really like that. Okay, let's show you the product really quick. I have got a mess going on here. Mr. SMS in his office. He always knows when I have YouTubed. Tonight he has to come pick me up. So he's probably waiting for me to call. It's like 8 o'clock right now, Friday night, and he's probably wondering what's for dinner, which for me is, okay, let's pick something up. and are you almost done? All right, so let me show you the samples first. We have got the leaf set that I have been using, 8x8 Stampendous background stamp, on sale, 20% off. The individual stamps, 25% off if you do the I Want It All bundle. And there are 5 stamps. There's the snowflake that I used. So again, here or here or here or here or here or here. Think of all the different places you could use it. Love, love, love the music notes. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. And again, so much variety because it just, where do you want to put that paper or that vellum or that acetate? Same thing with the postcards. Talk about a useful stamp. Not totally inexpensive. I'm going to tell you that. They're $25 a stamp, which is why on the I Want It All bundle, we're doing 25% off. But it is a whopper of a stamp, and it is a rubber stamp, and it is from Stampendous, so you know you're buying quality. And then the words. And the words have, find inspiration in the moment, say yes, follow your dreams, dream big, sing your songs, give love, smile, never regret things that make you smile. They're lovely words, very thoughtful and encouraging. Live life to the fullest, relax. I probably need that one. So we've got the 5 stamps, again, 20% off, unless you do the I Want It All, and then 25% off in the bundle. We have got the heat-resistant acetate from Hot Off the Press. You get 5 sheets of acetate, and it's only $6.95, and then it's on a YouTube Yummy. Heat-resistant acetate. We're gonna leave the vellum on the YouTube from last week. Vellum also, it's $6.65, and you get 12 sheets of 8.5 by 11 vellum. So you can do vellum and you can do acetate. We're gonna put the gelatos on a YouTube Yummy. Put the gelatos. We've got the embossing powder set on a YouTube Yummy. So there's lots on the YouTube Yummy for you to look at. The tinsel. Twinkle Glitter. It will be on a YouTube. I think they should have called it tinsel because that's what it reminds me of, tinsel. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you samples because the girls did a beautiful job. Here's stamped on, or heat embossed, the black heat embossed on vellum with that postcard stamp. Then we have the music stamp and Merry Christmas. I'm pretty sure Doris made this. How yummy is that? Look at how, this is a 5x7 card. Just gorgeous. Then we have stamped on acetate and heat embossed, but we used a background paper. So this paper back here is a patterned piece of paper that we used. So we didn't color it at all. We just found a pretty patterned piece of paper, and because the acetate is clear, you see right through it, but those words are heat embossed on with the Stampendous embossing powder, and they just pop. Then we have in the red. How good does that look? That's a great guy card. How awesome is that? Done with the postcard stamp and the clear acetate, the heat-resistant acetate. This one is done on vellum, and we have done the gelatos on the back, and we use the tinsel all the way around. So that's the stamp on vellum versus the heat-resistant acetate. Totally different look, both equally beautiful. And then here it is on the heat-resistant acetate. Which one do you like better? Same card, just one on vellum and colored with gelatos, and one on heat-resistant acetate and backed in a gelato background. Both with the tinsel. It's not tinsel. I have to not say that. It's Twinkle Glitter. Fran, you want to rename it? Just asking. Then we have heat embossed words just on the vellum and backed on pretty blue paper, just a blue cardstock, a little bit of ribbon, a few pearls. Again, if you use the right paper, this is a great guy card because those words are inspirational to everybody. Put it on a brown, put it on a burgundy, put it on a hunter green, and it's going to look just beautiful. This looks like an Yvette card with the music notes done in, she did this in a soft blue embossing powder on the acetate. And again, it's that acetate that is important because it doesn't bend and it doesn't warp. Here you've got Happy Fall. She did 3 little panels of the acetate with the leaf stamp from Stampendous. Oh, we've got another one, another piece on our, done on the vellum. We have Happy Fall, very similar to the card that we're doing downstairs for the free make and take, only we added the Happy Fall for words on the front. And all of these were done with Stacey tape to hold them down. So if you can't see the tape, that's because you can't see the tape. And then I've got some cards that we have just done backgrounds out of. We've just used them for simple backgrounds. There's the leaf, simple backgrounds. Here's the snowflake as a background. So made your own paper, made your own designer paper and used it as a background. Here we've got the leaves as the main panel of the card. My guess, Gelatos. Great guy card, huh? Here we've got the snowflakes as part of a background. Isn't that darling? We've got the postcard as the background here. So the postcard stamp was used as the background here. And then the music notes on the owl. Music notes down here for your background. And then one more with the gold embossing powder. And Yvette fussy cut those flowers out of a piece of patterned paper because that's Yvette. And last but not least, because it's big enough, how cute is that on this cute wooden box, this cute little tote to put your little things on? How darling is that? On this wooden tote, it's got a handle up there. But because those stamps are big enough, you can do this. Look at that, is that gorgeous? That's beautiful. We did not do this. Stampendous did this and they rocked this. This is absolutely gorgeous. All right. Oh, and I forgot to show you, we do have the block. It's $10.99. It'll be on a YouTube Yummy as well. All right, I'm gonna tilt up and I'm gonna tilt back. Back. Okay. And I'm gonna say, okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this YouTube, and I hope by showing you another way to use vellum and Gelatos. If you missed out on those alcohol inks, now you've got a new and different way of doing it. And I hope you loved the heat resistant acetate from hot off the press. I think it's a beautiful product, and it does what it says it's supposed to do, and it does it every time at a price that is so affordable. So all of this is on a YouTube Yummy. Where are you going to find it? Scrapbookingmadesimple.com. If you have a local store and they have some of this product, go introduce yourself, say hello, say Stacey sent me, and meet your local retailer. I'm sure they would love to meet you. And if not, then scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Well, of course they'd love to meet you, but you might not have a local retailer. That's what I meant. Yeah. So scrapbookingmadesimple.com. All right, you guys, it's me. I'll see you next week for our anniversary sale. Oh my goodness gracious, the anniversary sale. So next week is the YouTube where we get, where when you post a comment, you have a chance to win. We're giving away 100 prizes. We give away 100 prizes every anniversary sale. And it's also, we have a special release for you then too, but I'll talk about that next week. We have, if you're not on Facebook, just our Facebook page is public, so you can go to it. Next week, I'll be doing sneak peeks and all sorts of stuff. So stay tuned, and I will see you then.